Welcome in Line by Line. Today I welcome back Shane. Hi.
Hello, Nodrik.
And Shane chose an interesting song by Creedence Clearwater Revival. Kind of iconic already, that song. Have you ever seen the rain? Shane, why did you pick that song?
Creedence Clearwater Revival. Well, when I was working with my mom when I was a young kid, and I got to go see a movie by myself, and I went and saw the third installment of the Die Hard series, Live Free Die Hard, and CCR was I think the song in the movie was Fortunate Son, and it seems to be like in line with the air in the in I a couple, at least I think a couple people's metaphysical universe, like, and it just sounds a lot like what the people I care about need to hear. So
Thank you. That's beautiful. Someone told me long ago, there is a calm before the storm. I know. It's been coming for some time. When it's over, so to say, it will rain a sunny day. I know, shining down like water. Calm before the storm. What do you think about that one?
maybe it was our talk before we did this podcast because I'm about to be waterworks. I'm about to be the waterworks man. The way the I think that most of the time I feel like when I've heard that term calm before the storm, I always think that it's because like I I've never until like now thought of it as like a natural phenomenon. I always thought it was like humans not being willing enough to just accept their own happiness. But I think there is such a thing as like just at this moment learning something about stories is that they don't have to do with like they just are like they don't have to do with good or like bad. Like a story is a story, and it's like I think that's what shined through in those lyrics for me. Like it's a part of a story. It's not something that it's not something that shouldn't be in your consciousness as something that like happens, I guess, because it does happen at like a if you're looking if you're living a story, you will come to a calm before the storm if that's part of your story.
To me, that calm before the storm um, and raining on a sunny day is like this ever-present feeling that when everything is okay, there is this fear on the inside that something might go wrong. Everything is calm, everything is peaceful, and then there is like this heartbeat. What if it's raining now? What if it starts
Yeah.
raining now? It's like this never actually 100% calm.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think that came with I think the the story unit calm before the storm
Mhm.
in its right like natural place. I feel like the scientific revolution like made people try. I feel like it just like blew away for a while. Like and then it became the emotions that I think that might be a better way to do things is like understanding psychology, human nature, like, oh yeah, we always think something's gonna go wrong. And I think adding on to that the element of like thinking it's a unit of a story sort of makes the world like a little bit more buoyant, and there's a little bit more positive emotion associated with being able to like, oh, like, or there's a little bit more emotion associated with being able to look at it as a story rather than as just your psychology, because that gives it like, I don't know if it makes it more harrowing, but understanding that psychology is part of the story, and like, I don't know that we've done that as a society yet, like made a good psychologist story even.
Yeah. The part where we used to compare our emotions to nature, and now because everything on the internet is just right there, we actually, instead of observing the nature and kind of aligning ourselves with nature, we look for answers, and there are so many answers in the let's say internet verse, and not all necessarily are correct, and it was easier to align it with, calm before the storm somehow.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. And I think like it's almost a good thing. Like it sort of speaks well on society
Mm.
and each other that a calm before the storm isn't like a good enough relationship doesn't really have to worry about, you know, a storm. Like, you know, and like I think that I there's a myriad of relationship that can be had that are like that. Um, but I think telling um, or saying what you want is like sort of a precursor to being able to have that state of um, enjoyment with another person.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when he said, I kind of knew it had been coming for some time.
Ah, yeah.
It's like, and
Yeah.
here he actually is addressing someone, and then he asks in chorus, I want to know, have you ever seen the rain? I want to know, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day? I have, and both literally and figuratively.
Yeah. Our first podcast was that you saw the rain come down on a podcast with me, or no, I think it was the second one. Whenever we were the just certain, it was like a couple, like I can say markedly uh brought me down to earth. Like there's a couple relationships that I think do that. And it's really good. Jung talked about how you have to be entangled in the earth. And I was like, that's good. That's good. That's my goal. Or that's where I'm at.
Oh, yeah. It's I think we did No Doubt, Don't Speak.
Yeah.
It's actually, yeah, Shane, you're right. It's we did it with Manuel. Shout out Agapic orientation.
Yes, sir.
Big fans, big fans. Yeah, that was that time. Oh, we did like 10 podcasts since, Shane. But yeah, the second one we did, I think, was No Doubt, Don't Speak. It was a good
My
podcast.
hair is about the same length but I would have much rather had the hair I have now than what I did then.
It's very nice. It's
Thank you.
Mm.
So is yours. I haven't seen yours.
My hair changes color all the way through the line by lines. You could see it like pink, purple, blonde, not black yet. Like I did not try black hair yet, but I might,
Oh,
might full on full on Elvira style. Uh, mm.
we just
So,
go emo.
oh, oh yeah, I know. I have so many emo friends now. They're like really emo.
Oh,
Yeah. It's like I am embracing all diversities of human being, like different ways of relating to the world. Yeah,
it's the roaring 20s, Nodrik.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You want to talk about emotion, the rain, you know,
Sunny
being
day.
emo. Yeah, the rain coming down on a sunny day. That's something like if you show just an emo kid those lyrics, he's like, yes.
Yes, each time I see a sunny day, I think of rain coming down right on it. It was funny actually. Like there was a story from my mom, and she said she was sitting in the classroom and she saw everybody was so obedient writing in their little notebooks, and she's like looking at all of them and imagining a crow just flying above their heads. I said, why would you do that? And she said, I don't know. It's like this peaceful nature of them was just so disturbing. It was nice to see like a little bit of chaos just right above their heads.
Oh man, man. Did you ever hear of Jung's vision?
No, tell me.
He was at the church and his imagination, he envisioned a man shitting on the church, shitting over the church that he was at as a kid. That's what he needed. Anyway,
Yeah, shut
back
out Carl Jung fans.
back to our previously planned programming.
Yes. So, have you ever seen the rain coming down on a sunny day, Shane?
Yes, the weather has been particularly weird, so I have seen that. And then emotionally, yes,
As well.
yes. But I don't tend to take those things as negatives. Um, they just are, you know? And it's hard. I think there is something natural to taking them as negatives that maybe I need to learn. Um, but at the same time, I don't know. It's like, yeah, they just are sometimes. Emotions are. So yes, I have.
It's actually bizarre to people when I say the things go wrong, and they're like, "Yeah, of course they are. They just are. They just go fucking wrong." It's like it's that's what happens, and everybody, no, you have to take it negatively. It should not be like this. I was like, whatever my life taught me, that if I were always to get surprised by the things going negatively, I would not go far.
Right.
I have to kind of take it into consideration that it might rain even if the day is sunny,
Yeah. Yeah.
and kind of be aware of the things that it had been like that for some time as well.
Well, if it's like summer, like, because it said, I've seen it coming for some time, or I felt it coming for some time.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if there's a thing in us that's always predicted because of the seasons that the next thing would be the next thing. Like,
Wow, that's a good observation, dude. Like I actually like that one.
yeah, and my question is whether or not we adapted that or we just had it because we're part of the universe, right?
Wow, you just
You know?
excellent. It makes sense, you know. It's like our life, our emotions, everything. We don't need to over explain sometimes. It's sometimes simpler to accept that's the way universe works. And it
Yes.
had been like that for some time.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's,
and I think the especially human part of that with um everything together is story. Like there's, you know what I mean?
yeah. Mm.
Because there's like your emotion and then there's your relationship. Like you can take your like the thing I usually focus on is like my emotion compared with like the reality of my relationship with someone or my reality of my relationship. And then I'm like, oh, um, like there's something also there's a unit that seems like is like bounding like on the boundaries of that, and that's like I don't know the frame, but then there's like the story, which is uh, like your own consciously being like your own enjoyment of the frame, which is like the story happening and I'm watching it. Like, you know, it's very odd or good. Yeah,
It's that idea of taking a step back and observing things and kind of I'm one of like I'm one with the universe. I'm part of it. It makes sense now. It's how the
yeah.
things are. Next answer. Yesterdays and days before, sun is cold and rain is hard. I know, been that way for all my time. Till forever on it goes, through the circle, fast and slow. I know, it can stop, I wonder.
Artistic. That's the only word I have. There wasn't one misplaced. It wasn't that the words were necessarily in the right place. It was just like this guy is enjoying what he's doing. Like this guy enjoys being an artist. He's like, you know, Nietzsche's three metamorphoses of the soul, like the um the donkey, the lion, and the child. Like this guy made it. This guy's like surpassed. He's you know he's in that state of childlikeness, like where everything's kind of like works for good, you know, or works towards something good happening, even if it doesn't seem like that to him, which you can tell is sort of like that's what I feel when I listen to it, that that's what he's thinking, or that's what the emotion that plays in me, at least. The rain happens by the meeting of hot and cold. So the song is about the meeting of hot and cold, the consequences of the meeting of hot and cold. So that's what that's what any
Mm,
comp.
I like that. So that frame, uh, also with the soul and our the aspects of who we are. And sometimes it's hot and cold. It's also who we are. That sun is, but like in here, he is as the artist. He named both sun and rain difficult. He said sun is cold and rain is hard. And I was thinking, like, what does that mean? It
Um,
feels like this. Everything has a little bit of bad in it somehow. Like,
yeah. Sun is cold, rain is hard. These are just concrete because this guy's a very down to earth guy, right? A lot of his music is about like it's almost apocalyptic, except it's more nationalistic, I guess. Like it has to do on the like phenomenological, like personal scale, like the effects of like tragedy and just what's going on, what's going like the consequences of politics on like the psyche, on like the populist psyche, or just it's about psychology and politicization and stuff like that. Like that's what I've gotten gathered from CCR. And like this is like just concretely yin yang symbols. This is not just a simple symbol. It's like, oh, the sun is cold. Like it's just another uh
hmm,
observation, I guess, or like
I get it.
a reality. Yeah.
So even in even those uh, things like sun and rain that are opposite each other, there is some duality to each part of them somehow.
Yes. And there's also William James talked about how a um it's like, okay, so a kid is someone's son, right? Now, there was one time my mom thought that she was like, what's happening to my boy? Because I became extremely like looking at myself kind of consciousness. And I was very logical, and she didn't like that. She didn't like how logical I was. And I think, and then William James talked about how psychopathy was a good thing, could be a good thing if high intelligence went with it. And it's like, if you're able to step away and know, so if you're like, okay, here's a bitter pill, that's kind of cold because it's like, here's the bitter pill. You sort of you have to be a son because you have to be alive, but you also have to, here's what you need. Like, if you're able to see that, I'm not saying I'm able to see anything, but if you're able to see that and help somebody with that, some people might call it the sun cold, you know? Some people might call you cold.
Wow, that's excellent. So sun that's supposed to shine and warm you. Sometimes the way to do it is to be cold.
Yeah, yeah. At the end of C.S. Lewis's A Grief Observed, he was surprised at how he felt this imagination of his dead wife come back to him as like a psychopathic, like cold, logical computer thing, computer. And he was like, oh, but that thing has love. Like that thing has the highest expression of love. Like more, there was something like, it was weird. And I related to that. People can understand, and to actually be a person kind of takes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shane,
Yes.
thank you for bringing that song.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It makes me think about both good old days because it's so chill, but it also makes me think about actually noticing things around you, people,
Yeah.
appreciating it because it
Yeah.
can rain. can rain. Thank you for the free time.
Yes.
That had been sponsored of this podcast. Please subscribe to Shane's YouTube channel and Twitter. I will provide the links below.
Okay.
Bye.
Can I do a shout out?
Yes, yes.
All right, all right. Who am I gonna shout out? All right. We'll just shout out my dog Miley again. She's a great puppy. She's doing great. All you Miley fans, I'm the only one. But okay, thank you, Nodrik.
Your dog's name is Miley?
Yeah, my sister's dog, but we kind of both took care of her.
Okay. Shout
Yeah,
out to all your family, Shane.
yeah.
Everyone,
Okay.
everyone
Oh,
who
and like
gave you a little bit of cold and
heart.
warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're in the Georgia area, this and that. Paul Deaton, he owns the place. He's liquidating. He likes to sell stuff. You like to buy things. Yeah? Yeah, you do. So come on by. And make sure to subscribe to Nodrik, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you.